Hi, my name is Georgia Hodgson. I'm a current Master of Science student majoring in Environmental Management, studying at James Cook University. I completed my undergraduate degree in marine biology, and as part of my Master's, I do have to do a 6-month placement or internship subject, and I'm currently completing that with Reef Ecologic. I'll get into a little bit more detail about what Reef Ecologic do, but they were invited on the 17th of July down to Reef Fest in the Burdekin. Now, we were asked as part of this invitation to create a 10-minute presentation, which we also decided to create a digital copy for better engagement and a wider audience. Now, Reef Ecologic themselves are a non-for-profit organisation based in Townsville. They do environmental consulting and also conservation and restoration workshops as well. Their main goal is to try and encourage people to look for innovative and sustainable solutions. So encouraging companies and businesses they work with, as well as people they do the workshops with, to look at solutions that will not only help the reef and the issues we face today, but also into the future and help the longevity of the reef as well. Here's just also a snapshot of some of the projects that Reef Ecologic are working on currently. So they have the Whitsundays Reef Recovery Project. They also have reef restoration on Fitzroy Island going as well. Most recently, they did a citizen science project, which was called Reef Blitz, in which for World Oceans Day, they encouraged people to grab out their underwater cameras and record any animals or any interesting sea life that they found in their local reef area. This then helped them collate the data and present a massive data set on what species are abundant on the reef, what aren't, and what species may not have been recorded in certain locations, and whether these species have moved. So it just gave them a good idea on or snapshot of the life on the reef. We all know that climate change is having a significant impact on most of our biologically important ecosystems, such as coral reefs, and the Great Barrier Reef has been no exception to this rule. This, along with the population growth along the coast, as well as the technological developments in the industries along the coast, has exacerbated this impact, especially due to the land use changes shifting from no development to being mostly agricultural and grazing land. This leads to an increase in runoff and also leads to an increase in dissolved chemicals and other pesticides going into the Great Barrier Reef Basin, which can have really negative impacts on the coral and the fish species that live there as well. So on a smaller scale, our region of interest being the Burdekin and Eyre region, we had an investigation into land use changes, and the majority of land use currently is for agriculture and grazing. This has led to a significant amount of the region being prone to ponding and runoff, and there is significant water quality issues within the water pathways, so all the estuaries and rivers that flow off into the Great Barrier Reef. As you can see on the right as well, it's a map of the last bleaching event in which the region off the Burdekin and Eyre had from major to extreme coral bleaching. So the impacts of this land use change have been significant on the reef already. Currently, individual areas management and monitoring techniques is also compiled into an outlook report completed every 5 years by the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority. In 2009, they stated that the reef outlook was at the crossroads, meaning more sustainable and holistic management was needed to be implemented to ensure the reef's health and survival. Then in 2014, they released the outlook report, which stated the reef health was poor. And then in 2019, the most recent report stated it was very poor. So the management techniques that have been implemented clearly aren't as sustainable as they need to be, and more development in that area is required to protect the reef and ensure longevity. For more specificity, we decided to focus on the Burdekin region itself, and we discovered that the major issues impacting the local reef were water quality, and we actually discovered that over 1/3 of the solids found within the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park area did stem or originate from the Burdekin region. And also recreational fishing. So tourism is a major industry in the Burdekin region, especially for recreational fishing. So the possibility of implementing a more rigid strategy would be of benefit to the local area as well. One technique that could be implemented to help monitor and track recreational fishing trends in the area is the app called iNaturalist. This app is a citizen science app, as previously discussed, in which anyone can take a snap or video of a certain interesting animal and upload it to the website. Then a team of scientists can agree or disagree with the observation, and once it's agreed upon, it becomes a research grade observation, meaning anyone can use it for data collation and to track trends in the local area of what species may be found, what species haven't been recorded there before, and how we can better implement management to protect the species. We did have a look at the current status of observations in the Burdekin region and found that the top 3 fish observations themselves were angelfish, rock cods, and batfish. Now, historically, there have been a lot of different species found in the Burdekin region, such as the snap you can see on the right of the green sawfish. Now, due to fishing and other different environmental impacts, you no longer find these in abundance in the Burdekin region, but it's just something to take note of and is probably of interest that environmental trends do shift throughout time, and the iNaturalist app is a really good way of tracking these changes and assisting scientists like me in monitoring and implementing better management strategies for these species. So here's just another quick example of our work at the Ungala shipwreck. So we're currently undertaking a citizen science project out there as well, in which we again get divers to just take and record species that they've found and just collate this data, which provides us with a bit of a data set on what has been observed there, what may not have been observed previously, and also how we can better protect and manage these species. One of the reasons that environmental firms such as Reef Ecologic do a lot of community work and education programs is to hopefully provide you guys with a bit more wealth of knowledge about local management and environmental issues, which can then sometimes help shift attitudes and increase communication between stakeholders, so your local fishers and farmers to the local government representatives, which can help break down barriers which can sometimes come up when implementing new management strategies. Overall, we hope that this will then lead to a better and more sustainable conservation result for the environment overall. Going back to our focus region of the Burdekin, whilst there are some issues that could be better managed for increased protection of the local reef area, there are local groups taking action which is having a positive environmental impact. So the council itself is a Reef Guardian certified council, and there are 10 Reef Guardian schools as well in the local region. There was a riparian management agreement signed by NQ Dry Tropics and Lower Burdekin Water to ensure improved water quality throughout the region, and also the Recycle Right campaign conducted by the Burdekin Shire Council, in which they went to schools and instructed on how to properly recycle. In terms of the gaps or possible future management options, Reef Ecologic are definitely here to support any further actions taken by the council, including supporting community and industry partnerships working together to better reef health, supporting and funding a possible recreational fishing strategy, again with the possible use of apps such as iNaturalist, and lastly any other help or support you may need, including educational resources and things such as that. So if you want any further information about what we do, how we can help, definitely don't hesitate to reach out. We have our numbers on the screen below as well as our emails, so definitely get in contact and we're happy to help in any way.